Hey, what's up, everybody? Todd Strange here, Strange Stories from the Stage. Today we have amazing vocalist and incredible singer Jamal Moore. He's an arranger. He is an incredible artist. I think you'll enjoy our conversation. I still have to get better about shutting the f up. I can't shut up sometimes. Those that know me know this, so maybe that's why I'm doing a podcast, so I don't talk so much to y'all. But that's not going to happen. Anyway, enjoy the conversation. I think I shut up enough to allow Jamal to talk. But do follow him at Jamal Sings, or at Jamal Sing rather, on Instagram. It's really a great account. A lot of entertainment there. I think you'll enjoy it. I think his voice is absolutely gorgeous. He's involved with so many cool projects, and I'm not only his friend, I'm a huge fan of what he does and what he's doing out here in the music world in LA. I think he's killing it. So enjoy. This is Jamal Moore. So are you
I love it.
okay? Cool, good. That's how they do it. So I'm being total copycat.
Listen, I feel like that's where some of the best ideas come. You're like, oh, this is working for them. All right, cool. Let me take it and then change it a little
It's
bit,
kind of true with the content. I feel like that's all we all do with that stuff,
hmm
right? I mean, I your content is amazing.
Thank you, man.
I really love it. Yeah. So
Appreciate it.
that God Bless America you did made me cry. How dare you? How dare you do such a thing?
You knew we needed it, man. So
Yeah, we did.
I think I recorded it a few months ago, man, but
Oh,
like
really?
it was just never the right time to release it. Like,
Well, you were
I
hoping you're
recorded it, you know,
I
you
do.
know.
I do. I was like, you were
So
hoping
I
that to be a ceremonial drop, and it was like, well,
absolutely I did. And it was just like, nah. So I was like, I'm gonna just put that on the back burner and just
well,
let it live for a little bit.
I think it had the right impact either way. To be honest, I
Appreciate
think
it. Appreciate
we all needed it after that.
it.
And I'm not even probably gonna get into it for this because it just doesn't. I don't know. Well, we can. I absolutely we can talk about that if you want to. But this is more about joy and about just.
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
This is more
And
about
we're
joy.
still on such a high from our concert too. So like,
It's funny. So for those that don't know, I mean, we are going to be broadcasting this. So Jamal and I have the opportunity to sing together with the LA Master Chorale. That's how we know each other. We also sing together sometimes when we're lucky enough to get called to sing on movies and projects of that magnitude. We get to sometimes sing together in the same group to bolster a score for a movie or something like that, which I never thought I'd ever get to do. And I'm gonna lower this a little bit. Ooh, wow, that was like a seismic. I have a standing desk with a motor. I did not think it was gonna like tick tick. Anyway, but yeah, so we get to do that, and the one of the joys I think for me with the Master Chorale is you have so many different kinds of singers that all kind of have this one purpose of just making really beautiful music together and for with good, and I feel like everyone's in there for good intentions too.
for
I don't
sure.
know about and so I feel like there's kind of a magic that hits when that cocktail gets mixed together and dumps out onto the Disney Hall stage.
Absolutely.
And it's like, and it happened the other night when we were challenged, I think, by somebody else, by somebody
hmm
who knew their craft very well.
For sure.
And having a guest conductor like that come in and really mold us for a concert
hmm
with that kind of intention
For
behind
sure.
every single lyric. I was telling Grant, I said, I'm shot vocally. He goes,
Oh,
he
I
goes,
was done.
he goes, how you holding up? I was like, I'm taciting. I'm stopping singing on. I was very honest with him. I was like, well, I blew it out because I was so excited by his gesture that
hmm
I took the bait, and
Same.
then I overdid it. And then everybody got, we also had a epically crazy amount of people go down with sickness, like almost a dozen go down. So for a smaller call, you think about this, singers out there, you have a 48-person call.
hmm
Everybody's important, and it's very big singing. And normally where we'd have about 64 on a call with somebody with some of the amplitude needed, and we didn't have that. So, and we didn't have the biggest voices, excuse me, on the concert. We didn't have our biggest voices. We had more of a hybrid of people that do dainty work very well,
Uh-huh.
and then some that can up the ante. And so it was a challenge for everybody.
For sure. I feel like we all stepped our game up in every single way to make it happen. Like realizing that, you know, we lost what, three, four sopranos, a couple altos, a baritone, like,
Yeah.
and like you said, everybody is important, like it is a puzzle piece that that they constructed for that particular concert. So to be missing a couple of pieces, we were like, all right, cool, we got to step it up. Todd, I've never after a concert had to take a nap. I
Did you take
came
a nap
home
after? Yeah.
full clothes on, like clothes still on, laid on the couch and went to sleep because I had given
Yeah.
everything. I was like, I
Yeah.
have nothing left.
I think for me it was an emotional. I mean, not just the technical aspect of it, but the emotional weight in the room was was
Hmm.
was palpable, and I'd never really felt that. I I told everybody, I said I can count on, like, I can always have like a top five of
Hmm.
moments in the hall for me, and in Disney Hall, which we are so great. I'm so grateful to get to like step in that hall, and then to realize that I've been a soloist in that hall. Even is like I'm
Yeah.
still kind of like, what's happening? Like like what happened? But also just to be in that group and then to feel the same energy that everyone on that stage and everyone in that hall is feeling at the same time. There's a real connection when that happens.
Hmm.
And it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen for every concert, and we want it to, and we force it upon ourselves to try and feel that sometimes. But I think this was so authentic, and there's been a few others. All this to say, I'll never forget that concert. Like it was
Never.
I'll never forget
Never.
it. Like it was a once in a lifetime sort of, like, I even told him after. I said I don't have words really for this. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
thank you, and I'm glad that I was in the room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I learned so much, so much. And I mean, of course, the master chorale, like you said, is some of the greatest singers. Like, I mean, we can perform anything, like,
Yeah.
and we perform it at a high level every single time. But to be stretched, what I'm saying, for that 2 week period or that week, that we had with him, like, it was incredible, and I think it took us to an entirely new level for sure.
I think to go meta with it, you could just say it's like you can always get better.
For sure.
And I think sometimes, and he was right. He said something in the middle of a rehearsal I thought that was some people don't like to hear, but I like to hear this kind of stuff where it's like, you all are good, but
Hmm.
we all do this. And we all
Hmm.
have to, like, I think we have to eat that a little bit
For
and
sure.
enjoy it. Be like, yeah, you know what? We plateau, and
Yeah.
it's not good enough.
Uh-huh.
It's never good enough, and shouldn't.
Hmm.
And I was always trained, it's never good. Even at your best, it's never good enough. You have to
Right.
keep chomping at it. Now,
Keep going.
everybody's different in their mentality. That can torture some people, but for me,
Hmm.
that feeds the fire. I'm like, yeah, we can get better. We can keep
Absolutely.
leveling up.
Vocally, like I was saying, I believe we can perform anything, but like just the connection to the text, and then the connection to him by just watching, like completely taking it off the paper. We're like, hey, I understand that this is a 4/4 bar, but I'm going to put a fermata in the middle of it. So watch me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Don't you think we
Completely.
all Yeah, I was just gonna say, sorry to interrupt. I Don't you
It's all
feel
good.
we all do that? Like, I feel like we connect to the page sometimes too much in concert. Like, I feel like it's established. The map is established on the page, but it's not meant to stay on the page. It's never meant to stay on the page. It's just a guide.
Yeah,
It's just a
exactly.
guide. And
Exactly.
we get in the education of, well, this is a this and this is a that.
Uh-huh.
And when it's all done, like the math problem is perfect, then that's when the magic happens. Sometimes, sure, John Adams, stuff like where it has to be so precise. But even that stuff, if it can lift from the page, there's a transcendence that happens that the audience, they may get it, they may not, but usually they understand that something else has been applied,
Absolutely.
and they can't always describe what it is.
I think there was an incredible connection between us and the audience this last concert. I feel like they were sitting on the edge of the seats because we were sitting on the edge of our seats or standing on the edge of the stage, like, No. We have more. We have more. Okay, no, you come back. Like it was a back and forth between us and the audience and him the entire time, which was really, really cool.
Somebody said something in a comedy podcast I listened to yesterday. I don't remember who it was, but it was like this. It was like the audience responds when they know they're not well when they know that you on stage are in control of what's happening. And as a unit, I felt like we were very in control of
Mm-hmm.
the intention of those pieces as a group. We all, you know, and I've that doesn't always happen on that stage. Sometimes there's some fear, and I think some like
For sure.
trepidation, like, oh shit, this bar's coming up. I never met, you know, and so then there's just like, oh shit, you know, and I think the audience can tell, you know,
For sure.
yeah, and I think that affects an overall performance. And I mean, there's excitement with it, and it's like, wow, we did it. But like from the audience standpoint, when I've been sitting in the audience watching us, you know, like as a spectator, I feel I'll feel like I'll be like, oh shit, Tanner doesn't know what's going on there. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like well, they were watching, or you know, it's like, no. But when it's magic and when it's on like that, it literally is magic. It's like
For sure.
like yeah, incredible.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about you. I want to talk more about you. First of all, for those that don't know Jamal, for the 5 people that will listen to this podcast, hopefully, maybe 6,
It's gonna grow.
I
It's
don't
gonna
know.
grow.
It's gonna go. It's gonna grow. And I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
He's one of the best singers in LA. One of the most versatile singers I know. Can pretty much sing. I don't know of a style you can't sing. Also, you produce, you arrange, you're in. You got your fingers in so many different like quadrants of the music industry, both classical and like industry, if you want to call it that. You have a lot of experience doing R&B. Am I correct in that? You've been on many albums, including Beyonce. Were you on Beyonce's latest album?
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal. So he's nobody, y'all. He's nobody. He doesn't do anything with his career. Nothing.
I get in where I fit in. You know what I mean?
That's a good place to fit in. FYI, just stick on that path. I think you'll be all right. I want to talk about this open to the world thing you did recently. Will you explain a little bit about what that was? You sounded amazing, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Hi, geez. Are you a tenor? Anyway, go ahead.
Listen, I came up to your world, like just the bottom of your world, like, okay, let me just touch on this G really quick, and then I'll come back down.
There were like 9 of them.
Man, I was hollering for my life, but you know, I can give you a G I can give you an A flat occasionally, but A, it's not happening. It's not happening. Like, unless I have the tightest skinny jeans on, it's never happening, bro. It's never. So I think early last year, I was doing a video with Tonality. We were like preparing for one of our concerts, and we did a cover of Blake Morgan's "You Raise Me Up." And he saw that video that was uploaded and was like, "Yo, I love what you did with this. I have this opportunity in Lithuania that I'd love to put you up for." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds cool. I've never been to Lithuania, but let's just let me know some more details." So he connected me with the producer of the entire festival and told me what they were up to, and how they were collaborating and featuring the music of Christopher Tin, and they were in need of a soloist. And I was like, "Hey, I'm definitely interested." So they sent me some of the music to do like a little audition, and got to go over there last December and be a part of that incredible festival. Like, some of the greatest music in the world was created by this man. Like, Baba Yetu is like known across the world. So to be able to perform
we did it. We did Baba Yetu like, I want to say like 5-6 times for Hour of Power on those broadcasts that we did over the last few years. I mean, Baba Yetu's everywhere. Like, there is not, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Absolutely. For them to allow me to, or select me to be a part of it, I was absolutely honored. It was well received. It was a little cold, but I enjoyed it, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't get cold over here in LA like that. So I was like, oh, I get to bring out the jackets and scarves, a little hat, like it was.
Well, we get cold, but we put those on it when it's 65 out. It's because we're cold blooded now.
Put on this pea coat real quick in this 60-degree cold.
It's true. I was like, I went to something the other day and they're like, "You always have 2 jackets?" And I was like, "Oh, I was like, well, the leather
Mm.
one is for show. And I said, but I'm so freezing that I had to put something on underneath. And I was like,
It's
I'm
different.
in
It's a
LA.
different kind of cold, man.
Yeah,
Like it still cuts to the bone out here. Like,
it
hey, even
does.
though it's 60,
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm NorCal and it got cold there, like actual cold, like
Yeah.
freezing. And no. And even in Arizona, when I did grads, would get really cold in the desert. It gets super cold.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a wimp now.
I get you.
I'm
I'm from
totally,
Georgia, where they just had a
yeah.
full on snowstorm, but still out here, I'm like, I don't know, it's still cold, so I'm gonna put on this jacket and a scarf and call it a day.
Talk to me about where you're from in Georgia. I want to know a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. I grew up there, was a part of a few ensembles there. One teenage performance ensemble I was a part of was Creative Impressions, which was like I said, a teenage performance ensemble that sort of crafted my musical identity. You know what I'm saying? It exposed me to different genres, whether it was gospel music, whether it was choral music, a little bit of R&B as well. Like, I mean, we covered everything. We did stepping, we did, dance. And then I just kind of took all of those things that they introduced me to and just kind of ran with it. Went and studied, opera at Eastman and toured with an a cappella group for a few years. Like, so all those different parts of my brain, were being catered to. Sang with an a cappella group in college called the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets. And so all those things, all those different ideas over the, first 20 something years of my life, I just came out here to LA and just started applying all those things. And, it's led me to these different opportunities.
You musical family? Did you grow up singing music or like with your family?
Yeah,
Yeah.
grew up in church. So my dad was a funk drummer growing up.
No way.
So I started as a drummer before I was a singer.
Get out. That's really
Yeah,
like on a kit, like
yeah. Started on a kid and then started playing African drums in a teenage performance ensemble.
that's really cool.
Yeah. So that was my first love. And then once I got older, I saw some other drummers. This is when YouTube became a thing, you
Yeah.
could start seeing drummers from around the world doing their thing. And I saw a couple drummers and I was like, I'm never gonna play like that, so I'm gonna go sing. It's like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna apply myself to do this. Singing is the next thing, and that comes easier than drumming. So let's make it happen.
I always wanted to drum. All my best friends growing up, like my two very best friends are drummers. Like they're yeah, and so like I always wanted to, and I was growing up, I always and it sucks too because sometimes I have shitty rhythm, which is even funnier. Like you're like, dude, come on now. But like, but like I'm obsessed. At the same
Yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah.
I'm obsessed with cowbell. What can I say? And bam, bam, bam.
Why not?
Need more cowbell. But yeah, I think that's super cool.
Thank you.
That's super cool. All my friends go, like listening to like Buddy Rich and Neil Peart and all those guys. Like,
Yeah,
oh no, those
yeah,
are those are the guys like I used to listen to. And then funk is it's this whole other thing which I love
yeah.
also. And it requires so much just like offbeat, just all that. I love that so much.
Absolutely.
There's a place I teach. I teach at Cal Arts in the
Dope.
summertime,
Okay.
and it's all high school kids, and there's a section of African drumming that they do
Mhm.
where the teachers like go. What's funny, these guys like I just to be like totally honest, these are the two of the whitest guys I've ever met in my life. Which I thought I was like, wait a second, can we? I'm like, is this? I don't know. Like, I don't know the rules. I'm not going to tell you the rules either. I'm just going to sit along and enjoy. But these guys go over. Their teacher is over in like Africa, and they go on these long like 6 week like expeditions and stuff where there's no shower, and they just drum. They drum for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And yeah, the main guy's like, yeah, I just got back from this trip, and I was like, dude, yeah, you look like you just got back from a trip from like 6 weeks. You look like you literally just set your backpack down and are ready to
And
drum.
just drum.
It's insane though. It's seeing the infectiousness of the drumming and the style and the culture and everything is insane. It's so cool.
Absolutely.
It's so joyful and so amazing to see. And I think I got brought that culture when I went as a high school kid in the 80s. And
Gotcha.
we had African drumming then and had a big presentation. So like it's been over 30 years that this little nugget from this summer school has been passed down for over 30 years by different teachers from Cal
Yeah.
Arts and stuff. Which I think from Cal Arts, I feel like they're so about like exploring different genres and exploring different things. I feel like it comes
Yeah.
to a place of somewhat artistic legitimacy, you know. I
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it feels, I don't know, you know, but I just know it was cool to like learn about that for the first time, to have
Yeah.
somebody from Africa come over and like drum for us, and
Yeah.
I had no idea what
There
yeah,
was there's a
and
Go ahead.
Gamelan too was the other one.
Yeah, love Gamelan. So I was I didn't get to participate in Gamelan at Eastman, but like I went to a few of the concerts, like, and Gamelan is
Insane.
incredible. But also there's a drum store in Inglewood, I want to say, called Motherland Music, that I went and got my drum from. Is back there in the corner, like, that has drum circles that I've been to a few times, that I just love to just go to and just like release, you know what I'm saying, occasionally, and play with an amazing group of
I can
drummers that
imagine
I've
it
known.
meditative, right? Almost.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you're in this, I don't even know how they built this store, but it feels like a cavern. Like, and so the drums are just reverberating off the walls. Like,
That's awesome.
I mean, it's in your bones
In your
when you
blood,
leave,
yeah.
like
I,
in your
I
blood
would
for sure.
I would love that. That's so cool. If you go,
Yeah.
I want to say be a fly on the wall.
Come on. It's on Saturdays. Like, they do
Dude,
it pretty much every Saturday. And you can
I
pick up a drum and just play. It's
well,
amazing.
they'd be like, okay, put it back down, put it back down.
It's like, so we're gonna give you
Just
the
listen,
rhythm. Just
Todd.
hold it
Just
down. Hold
hit the big beats, Todd. Maybe a high note, but
it.
a
Hey, we
little
need
beat.
high notes. Hey. Also, you asked me about my upbringing. My grandmother was a singer as well, but she didn't sing publicly. So I just grew up to her singing like before school and stuff like that. She sang a lot of
Church, or
gospel
was it
music. Yeah.
nice? Awesome.
So there was like a local church that she went to in our neighborhood, but mainly like I grew up to her listening to the radio and gospel music every
Nice,
morning before school, and so
nice.
that was a big influence on me.
That was a good era for gospel music, I think. Like the 90s was good. Like the BBCC Winans, like that era,
Hmm.
Brooklyn Tabernacle, all that stuff is
Yeah,
really good
it
stuff.
was early Kirk too, like
It was
early
early
Kirk.
Kirk. Yeah, it was early
Yeah.
Kirk. One of my best friends growing up would pass me CDs of,
Huh.
and so and that and Take Six, like growing up. So that whole vibe was big in my world, weirdly. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was kind of a country boy, but like, yeah, my best friend, one of my best friends growing up, we would walk to elementary school together,
Let's
and he
go.
his both his parents black pastors, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, and so
It exposed you to a whole other world, dog.
yeah,
Let's
it
go.
was really awesome, incredible, because it was music, and it was like I just kind of, and it helps you establish the links of the pop genres too. You're like, oh, I see where this comes from a little bit
Right.
more, and
Right. Right.
trust me, like it was sheltered. Like I grew up in Northern California in the Valley. It
Gotcha.
was farming. It was not. It was country music. It was football. It was not, and opera. Weirdly, opera was it was like Midwest.
I got you.
It was like Midwest has choral music and all that. That's a thing up there. So I'm grateful to my friend Tony for, because what ended up happening is we both went to UOP together in undergrad, and I ended University of the Pacific in Stockton,
Yeah.
and I started doing some gospel. We worked the board for some gospel
Let's
festivals,
go.
and it was insane. It was like
Let's go.
it was the best. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Yeah. All right, I gotta talk to you about Steve Daigle a little bit.
Oh,
Your opera
goodness.
upbringing, yeah.
Yeah.
Opera upbringing. We both know this man, this wonderful man named Steve Daigle, who is an incredible director.
So genius.
And absolute genius. And I worked for Ohio Light Opera for 3 years, and you went to University of Rochester at Eastman
Yeah.
School of Music, which is like one of the, first of all, let's just say that's one of the best music schools in the world, in the country, and so that makes sense that
Got
they
my
produced you.
cup right here. It's a little
Yeah.
faded, but I need to
Oh, that's
I
so
need to
awesome. That's so
get
awesome.
another
That's so incredible. I just have verb copy. I'm just
one.
yeah.
Dago, man, I got to work with him on a few different shows, and he also taught opera workshop as well while I was there. What did we do? We did the Impresario together.
Oh yeah,
We also did.
great
I
opera.
don't think he directed Manon. Maybe he did.
Did you do
I
the
can't
baritone
remember.
role in that? Did you sing the baritone role in
Yes,
that all? Yeah,
I might mess it up. The Comte de Grille.
I think
See,
so.
my French is terrible.
I
That
think.
was my worst subject. Give me
Oh
German
no,
and
you're fine.
Italian all day.
Don't worry about it. I actually
But
don't know.
yes,
Yeah, I don't know that opera. I mean, I know the arias, but I don't know like the score. I've never sung the role, so
gotcha.
yeah,
Oh, you would blaze that though.
it's hard. I've tried the arias. One of them is easy.
Yeah,
One of them, not easy, but like one of them, you can kind of like skate by, and they're like, oh yeah, he could possibly do the role. The other one separates. The other one, if you like, it's like God, like why would
right.
I want to sing that for an audition? It's really hard.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
it's like B flat after B flat after B, and it
Yeah.
starts in a really awkward place in the voice, and
Hmm.
your throat basically just starts, you know,
Like,
right?
hey,
You have to really,
do you want to make it through this aria or
yeah, it becomes all prayer. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I do have some form questions that I usually like
Let's go.
ask on these. So just to kind of get into it. Now that we know you're established as a, you know, as a amazing pop singer, a great arranger, classical singer, all that stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit about like your experiences on stage. That's kind of why I
Hmm.
created this podcast, was just talking about we've all had moments on stage
Hmm.
where it can either terrify us, things can go wrong, things can go awry. And I just want to talk about some of those moments if you're willing to share anything.
Absolutely.
First of all, what was your best moment on stage? Do you have one that you can remember, like one of the best, like one of those top five moments, maybe besides the concert, because I feel like that's a one for all of us this last
Yeah.
weekend. But
Well, I was so remember we just did the I just did the solo the I Believe in Liberty solo from the
yes,
Credo by Margaret Bunch, which was
yes,
really fun. First night of that, incredible. I was like, yes, good standard. Second night, the reason it happened,
what
I usually
happened?
have a usually have a routine of tea that I drink before like every day. Especially on days that
Is
I'm
it a
resting.
specific tea? Is it a
Yeah,
specific?
it's like the lemon ginger crystals. I put a cough drop in it, and then I put the manuka honey in it, and it
Yeah,
gets rid of all the phlegm that we deal
yeah,
with here in LA. Like
yeah.
everything's always in the air, allergies, and it usually cuts through everything. This particular day, or that weekend, my mom was visiting, right? And my mom, I gave her one of my teas the night before, and she was like, "Oh, that tea was so good." So I gave her, and I didn't realize it was my last one, right? So the day of the show, I don't have my tea that,
You fell on the
handles
sword
everything.
though. You fell on the sword for your mom though. She wanted the tea.
I was like, "Ma, I'm so happy you enjoyed this tea because it was it led me
It
to
cost.
a crack on one of my notes, and then I couldn't get to my hook at the end of my solo, like for the final note of the piece. I was
This
like,
came up on you.
I
Yeah.
was so mad. I was just like, I gotta always make sure I have my supplies, just
Is it
oversupply.
Did you find it was like, is it leading up to that? Technically speaking, was it leading up to that it happened? Like, was it the crack? Did it get in your head, or was it the?
So right before, like, the movement right before I go
Yeah,
out, I
yeah,
felt the phlegm coming up. And I was trying to sing through it because Grant was like, take your time, like take it easy. So I was
yeah,
singing
yeah.
a little bit, but not really, just preparing for the solo. And then as I'm preparing, I feel it go up and I go, what's
Shit.
about to happen right now?
Yep, yep.
And so I started singing around it and I was like, okay, let's see if we can navigate. Let's see if we can adjust. And
Isn't it funny how you picture like the 405 and like a mass on the highway that you're having to like go around? Like
Mhm.
is that what's going on in your mind? Because to me,
Absolutely.
and you're
I'm
like,
thinking of
maybe I can.
potholes in the road. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
navigate, navigate. Let's see if we
yeah,
can go make more space. Let's see what
yep,
happens. And
yep.
like most of it came out, but like the two things that I needed to be right. Well, actually, the high F came out, which is cool, and that I appreciate that. But the final thing of in a mighty nation, and like sending it to the back of the room, it was just like could have counted as like a decrescendo. Hey, if somebody heard it and thought that, great. But it's usually more powerful than that. So
I
that was one of my moments.
I've been there so many times. I can't even. Yeah, I've been there more than like the success moments. I think
Yeah,
it's
gotcha.
like it's very much like a like a Michael Jordan thing where it's like, well, if I it's like the average is so low. When you do it right, but those moments, you just hope that the average moments are when there's paying people out there.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
I
I've
mean, people
been.
still loved it, and I got they shook my hand, gave me hugs afterwards. I was like, cool, thank you so much. And then I also have the recordings of both nights, so I only listened to the first night. Forget the second night; it never happened.
honestly, it's proof to me. It's proof that we all are very very hard on ourselves.
For sure.
Those that are in the business that view others in the business are also sometimes very hard on one
Hmm.
another in their
Hmm.
minds. I think we're all very critical of one
For sure.
another initially, and then we have to back up and I think we're initially critical, and then we clinch and then give grace because
Yeah.
I think that's how we're trained. I don't think
Yeah.
it's right. I just think that's for better for worse. That's how it comes out because we're so like like we're so focused on not effing it up ourselves that
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
like we're hard on everything and I just
Absolutely.
I just think yes, be hard on ourselves and be hard on the standard, but at the same time give grace because we also recognize that we're human
Absolutely.
and the audience didn't give a shit. I mean,
Absolutely. They didn't.
they just want, again, they just want intention. And
Exactly.
even if you're in control in that moment that you're out of control, you're in control of the performance still. You're not in
Absolutely.
control of your voice, but you're in control of the forest, not that
Uh-huh.
tree, but the
Yep.
forest. And if you can maintain the forest, they're in for the whole story. They're there.
Exactly. Exactly.
100 notes were sung. If 101 is a little meh, I
Talk
can't.
about it.
Well, I just like we ride the tightrope so much. It's like it's that's where this is where I think it's like important for artists to be like, all right, I went into comedy to laugh at myself
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and to laugh at what we do so much because I do think it's ridiculous. Like sometimes I think the payoff is beyond sometimes beyond like it's like the definition of what people feel when they really believe in God. Like when
Yeah.
it's just
Gotcha.
like the payoff could be like a spiritual like awakening and like,
Hmm.
oh my God, that was like the concert,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're moved, you're changed, you're walking around the house, you still have earworms going around, you're like
Mm.
you're still feeling the weight, the impact of how you brought that to other people, how they received it, how
Yeah.
you received it as an artist, all that stuff. But if something gets messed up, it's still fun to it's still a human emotion to be able to laugh about it. And
Absolutely.
if you spiral about that, you may not get up on stage again to do it again.
Exactly. And like that happened in April. I definitely did not give myself grace for the first day or two. I was like, God dang it, Jamal, you should have had your tea. But then I was just like, it happens. Some of the greatest performers in the world have fallen on their faces. Like, you get back up, you get back on the bike, and you keep going. Like, that's just
Yeah,
what it is. Like,
you win or
you're
you
never going to be perfect.
no, you win or you learn, right? I mean, honestly,
Exactly.
you learn more. I mean, I don't remember shit when I do well. I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
yeah.
I was like,
Check the box. I'm done. Good.
yeah. Did that happen? Like, I'm like, really,
Right.
like, I did. Wonderful. I'm glad I did
Nice.
that. I don't remember shit. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
but I remember that time I breathed in and it caught here, and I had to like navigate over it, and it went, and I'll focus on that phrase. It went, and everyone else like, hey, great performance. I'm like, yeah, but that little like passaggio
Right.
note, and you're like,
Right. Right.
no one cares about that.
Yeah, nobody
Like, you
cares.
have to. And this is why singers don't post.
Huh? Uh-huh.
Not also because I think our artist bubble gets caught up into the weeds of politics and
Mhm.
we get affected by social media in that way
Absolutely.
more than making it a like I treat social media now like a video game, like it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a video game of production now, and I try not to
Gotcha.
consume it, but I try and produce and just get out of the way of it and
Yeah, yeah.
figure out the level, like it's like figure out the algorithm like it's a level, like
I
because
gotcha.
if I start to think of it personally, I go crazy, It's like,
Yeah, I totally
and
get it.
I don't know, how do you do with your social media stuff? Because thing is, I know it's important, and we should talk about it like it's important because it is important for artists to do it. It's not everything, but it's the only way to get things out beyond our bubble.
Absolutely. It is a tool that, we have to use to promote ourselves. If I would have been super, critical of the video that Tonality uploaded, then it would have never led to the Lithuania opportunity. If I would have been like, nah, don't upload that. That's good. I'm cool on that. Or if I would have never uploaded my cover of Why I Love You in 2017, I wouldn't even be here in LA. You know what I'm saying? Somebody told me to cover that song a year before that. And I was like, nah, I'm good on it. I don't think I want to do that. And I finally sat down and covered it, and it changed the entire trajectory of my whole career. You know what I'm saying? So like, use social media as a tool. Don't be super critical of yourself, because there are people that want to hear you. There are people that are out there rooting for you. You know what I'm saying? That want you to succeed, that want to hear, what you have to offer. So just do it. Like, and if you need to pre-record it and do a video to it so it's perfect, cool. Like, but just like get yourself out there so that people can get some of your artistry.
Yeah, I agree. It was a hard thing. Well, I come from the other side of it where I did exactly what you were talking about. Is like I didn't post stuff for a long time.
I
I
got
was
you.
really afraid, and the comedy thing was something that's been eating at me since 2016. So it's taken a long time for me to I mean, I didn't even start till what, 2022. So I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's a long time to sit on an idea about,
I got you.
and I think it took me talking to Baba Tunde, actually. I went up
Mm,
and had lunch with him because I was so impressed with what
yeah,
he had done with his branding and his image, and just his this thing that he just did, and then said, "Screw it, I'm gonna take the ball and run with this." And I was
absolutely.
super impressed, and very, I was like, dude, this is, and you know, I've known Babatunde for a long time. We sang opera together for opera outreach together for a long time, and known
Incredible.
each other for a long time. And I was like, what are you doing? This is awesome. I'm like, this is so. I'm like, should we all be doing this? He's like, you should all be doing this. Why aren't
Absolutely.
so I don't understand why the singer bubble is so afraid to do this. I was like, yeah, I go, well, you know why. I'm like, but
Huh?
he's like, but there's money in this, there's opportunity in this, and there's just like with what we do. And so we had lunch, and it was just a normal, like we just had a normal, like so normal, like Todd and Babatunde lunch. It was so weird. You know, it was like, hey, what's up? You know, but we were talking about this stuff, and he's, you know, he's really successful now,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
because he stuck with it, and because he's believed in his own abilities and product, and has been consistent with it.
yeah. All those things are important. Like fully committing to that idea. Like he was like, "Oh, I know my technique is great. Like I mean, but I'm going to take it to a whole nother level, and I don't care what, the classical buffs may think of it.
Well,
Like this
that's
is
what I
what
loved.
I don't care. Like I'm gonna do it because I love it, because I enjoy the way this makes me feel. And now the audience enjoys it. And people can turn their nose up at it if they want to, but he is living his best life right now. And I'm so inspired, just like you are. Like, just
I
let it out there. Like, do
I
your
can't
thing.
imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine anyone now. Like, I mean, anyone turning their nose up at it is got to be out of touch with
Absolutely.
like that's not what opera singers want in their world. If they do, then like where's the payoff, or
Right.
where's the bottom line if that's what you want opera to be? Where's your bottom line, like as a
Right.
business? Also, I mean,
Right.
I know it's an art form, but at the end of the day, artists need to get paid. So you
Absolutely.
art form business, they still bleed the lines. I mean, you can't say, you still got to pay a cell phone bill at the end of the.
Absolutely.
Pragmatic is a real word, you know. It's like, it's part of me that, like, shakes my head sometimes. I'm like, come on guys, like nobody wants to
That's
see this. I am glad that people are trying new things and
yeah.
trying
Why not?
to
Just try
be
it.
yeah, in opera and stuff, and trying to get it out there more. I think
Yeah.
hopefully it's, you know, we'll see where it goes. It's, you know, that and jazz are hurting, but we hope that it picks up in America, you know.
I feel like it will. I
I do
feel
too.
like there are different artists, like even that are more popular, that are discovering our art form. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And seeing
Beyonce
and going,
sang.
wait, hold up. She's in country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, she grew up in country music, which is a whole, and she's already kind of immersed in that world. But you hear her sing classical things from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be an artist. That I feel like that is what it all comes down to. It's just like, just be an artist. Whatever that means, just express yourself. And if whatever it comes out that day, just let it be.
I love that. Yeah, that's really good advice. That's
Yeah.
such good advice. It's simple. It's simple advice.
Hmm.
It's simpler than we want it to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We want the Chat GPT answer, the Gemini
Yeah.
answer, but it's just like, no,
No, just put that
be an
shit out
artist.
there. Yeah, put it out
Put it
there.
out.
Put it
Yeah.
out, and it's a free audience.
Absolutely it is.
So why not? I mean, you'll know immediately.
But the crazy part is that we're more critical of it than the audience is. The same thing about, being on stage and having the cracks and stuff like that. The audience is like, you might have cracked, but I enjoyed the way you sang your text. I enjoyed the way you made me feel for those other 100 measures. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't focused on 101, you know? So
It's gold. Yeah, that's good advice. You ever have a real like, besides like, you ever have like a funny F up on stage, something that happened that just like was like where there was no helping it and you had to just
there are so many. There are so many. So I was in an acapella group, a couple
okay,
acapella groups. My
nice.
my my group at the University of Rochester called the Yellow Jackets. Shout out to those guys. We performed over the nation and in a few different countries as well.
Wow.
And sometimes, we would exchange solos. This is me in the heat of opera training at Eastman, right? So I don't know how to control my voice yet. I don't know how to
Yeah.
sing pop and R&B. It's just like this dude is an opera singer singing a cappella music, so it's just vibrating at all times. So, you would get some interesting solos that might be, waving flag by K9, and it wasn't supposed to sound
It's literally like
as operatic,
it's like the best I
and
do.
exactly. So, a couple of those moments, but then, like I said, I performed with another a cappella group called The Exchange, where we used to tour and we used to perform at this place called Europa Park in Germany. And we used to perform in an ice rink. And so there was like a little ledge that we would come out and sing and all this stuff like that. And this particular day, I don't know if I fell, but everybody fell on the ice. Somehow they stepped backwards and
Was it like a domino thing?
yeah, it's like they took turns. Like it was just like we're jigging and like somebody might have stepped like 1 foot on it and it was like, well, they're down. And then it went to the next person. It was like they're trying to cross over. That person's down. It was wild.
Do you have footage? Do you have footage? Did anyone
Wonder
record?
if
I wonder if somebody
we're
recorded that.
we're
That'd
gonna
be
we're I'm
hilarious.
gonna try to find it and see if there's footage on YouTube because they used
That'd
to
be
record
funny.
shows like all our fans over there. Those moments, I'm trying to think. There's so many with the exchange. We used to call them travel things were called exchange adventures. If crazy things happen during travel, it would be
You should write a
called
book.
exchange adventures.
You should write a
We
book.
should.
You
We
should
should
write a
sit
book on
down
that. Yeah.
and recall all those experiences. What are some crazy
You have
stage
anything
moments?
go wrong at the opera? You ever have anything happen like in your operatic or like in your choral experience? Besides the credo, anything like on stage or anything happen?
I think in the world.
It's okay if you don't. It's fine.
I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like most of my crazy experiences happen with acapella more so
Acapella.
than classical stuff. Like, we did Omar recently, and that was cool. That went well.
Yeah,
Chorale stuff usually goes well. I think, I've always remembered my lines, which I'm grateful for. Thank
that's
you.
good. That's good. I have not. Yeah, I have not. So I've had plenty of times I've had to make some shit up, like in
Yeah.
the heat of battle. That's horrible.
I feel like I've definitely done a recit where it wasn't as clear. Where I've been like,
Yeah,
and then get to the next part just to make it through.
it's easier when it's a foreign language, right? Because then it's like
Right,
you're like you're like, well, how can you blame me? I don't.
right, right. What are you talking about? I can't think of any more in the choral world, though. I feel like there's probably some, but most of my craziest experiences are with the exchange and with the Yellow Jackets for sure. Like, just singing solos I should not have been singing. I should have been just directing. I was like, this one's for you. And they're
like style points, bro. It could have a little different vibe.
right now, and like, it was crazy. This is wild. My voice just took over in those moments. I was like, okay, my bad.
When you like, because you grew up singing, you grew up singing probably not opera, right?
Right,
You grew
right,
up singing gospel, and
right.
then you got the operatic training when you like went over to study at East. You study with Bob? Who'd you study with? Bob Swenson
I
or
said it with Jan Opalag
with Jan?
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
you learn the technique, which is
Hmm.
vastly there's a lot of moving parts that
For
happen
sure.
that feel different, but they're not. When you get down to it, it's different, but it's not. It's like it's
Exactly,
just a different
exactly.
support system. But you're like, oh, I thought it was this, but it's actually not that much. I mean, it is different, but it's not like I can still sound like a normal person and do this
Exactly.
technique, and like I don't have to sound that way.
What?
When did that start to turn over where you realize like, oh, I can be more versatile again as an artist now that I've gained this technique? Like how did that affect like how you now enter the musical world now? Because you have to be so versatile now. Being in LA, just FYI, we have to be so versatile in LA. We can't sound like that in an a cappella setting, me included. Like I have to know how to do it in different styles, as do
Hmm.
you, being a session singer and calling ourselves, I guess, professional session singers because we've done enough of them that we can say that we are.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to toot my horn like that. I'm like, thanks for calling me. You know, I'm still like, thanks for calling me. But like,
No, bro.
I'm always in the grateful category, but at the same time, I've done enough films to be like, all right, we've had to switch on a dime so many
Mhm.
times. How did that technique help you facilitate all the things you have to do now?
So I want to say there were a couple different turns in the journey that you know kind of helped me sort out the different techniques needed for different gigs. So growing up, I sang with an amazing singer by the name of Trey McLaughlin, who was like one of our main directors for Creative Impressions, and he has his own ensemble called Trey McLaughlin and the Sounds of Zamar. That is mainly a gospel ensemble, but we sing various things in there as well. And he studied opera as well. He was one of the bigger influences in my life that I saw how he used his different techniques to go in and out of genres, and I was like, okay, I want to do that. I can take from here to to apply here, and then also studying choral music at Davidson Fine Arts with James Dunaway. So I had the choral aspect where you had to blend with everybody, and then, like I said, having the gospel upbringing and Creative Impressions and with Trey, I kind of put those things kind of to the backside of my brain when I first got to Eastman because I was trying to focus strictly on the coursework there. But then my second semester, I was like, wait, I need to like exercise those muscles so that I don't just like lose those things. And that's where the acapella came in. And so that started the transition to like, you know, kind of bouncing back and forth. And luckily, I had a cool teacher. Jan was amazing to be like, hey, if you can do both healthily and you can, still keep your grades up and everything, I will allow it. Because, some teachers over there were like, there's no way you're singing in an a cappella group and, doing these late night performances or traveling. No, you're focused on classical music. But I had an amazing teacher that was very open minded. And as long as I handled my business over there, I could do the other stuff. So that led, to me being more open minded and making those things happen, and then joining the exchange as well. So coming fresh out of college, opera technique on full blast, like should have gone to grad school, you know what I'm saying? But I was just like, I'm okay on school right now. I got into the exchange where there were 5 different voices that I had to blend with. It was no longer a large ensemble, it was no longer solo work. So I had to
You're one
learn
on the
how to
part.
adapt.
Yeah.
Exactly. I learned how to adapt and blend with my bro. His name is Aaron Sperber. We were singing a lot of the, background parts for that whenever we weren't singing lead. And I just had to go back into those things I learned from Trey and from choir, just to be like, all right, you need to really blend it, and you need to be able to turn off your vibrato from time to time but still support it with good technique, because that was the point of going to Eastman. It was like, I want good technique to sustain a healthy career. I want a healthy career and be able to dibble and dabble in different genres. And then that led me to being out here. Although I was fresh in 2017, I took all those techniques that I learned from before to be like, all right, cool, here's some auditions for these different major artists. I need to blend. It needs to be seamless. You know what I'm saying? I need to make sure I don't stand out. So, I practice hard at home, like learning those parts. Like, okay, Beyonce's parts are way up here and my voice is way lower, but I know I need to, sound similar to her in terms of blending with her background parts. So, just locking in and making sure, it worked out. So I would say I pulled from various parts of my life to be able to, kind of be a chameleon.
That really, that's a great story.
Thank you.
That's really cool. I think it's good advice for people. I think, you can get as much you want to get a good teacher, you want to get somebody that's going to give you a nice foundation, but
Hmm.
ultimately it's what you do with that and how you take that ownership of that as an artist and how
Hmm.
you take and then you form your own sort of technique like you have
Hmm.
by listening, by forming, by
Yes,
shaping in your mind. It's not just the technique, it's how you, it's what you do with those tools and how you form it into your own like thing, your own craft.
absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
and that to me makes the ultimate teacher in
Uh-huh.
you to pass that on as you gain more experience in
Hmm.
all these genres. What you're able to pass on is so unique to you.
Hmm.
I think this is cool about all of us as what we've all learned like a classic technique, right?
Yeah.
And then we've applied it in these little boxes that did or did not exist before. But what that creates is something that didn't exist that you
Uh-huh.
pass on to somebody else that creates something that can grow. And so to me, it's like that to me is like teaching through mentorship, teaching through and passing on through mentorship. But it only comes from the hard work that you have to do as an artist. Like what you said, I worked hard. So much of it is I waited for so long as an artist for some shit just to fall into my lap, and a lot of it did for a long time as a tenor. And so this is not a good thing. I'm just saying, as a tenor was a tenor,
Yeah.
an ego laden tenor, and just kind of
I got you.
expected shit to fall into my lap. And like I said, it did for a long time until it
Uh-huh.
didn't. And that moment when it didn't was the moment that I had to just like recall how lazy I'd been as an artist,
Mm.
and
Got you.
how and that I'd had the complete wrong mindset all along. And it's a recent thing. I'm not, and this is not a bravo to you, Todd. This is like you should have woken up like 20 years ago. I'm glad that in any case that it was some things woke me up in that sense, that it is so much. It's not about being, chosen or special or anything. It's just
Hmm.
about the work. Just
Yeah.
do the freaking work. If you do the work and consistently do that work, something and have the right intention behind it, or
Hmm.
an intention. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be the right intention, as we can see in politics, but it's like, but have an intention, things will
Yeah.
come out of that, whether they be good or bad,
For sure.
but you will get results
Hmm.
from that dedication and consistency. And if we all have the right mindset, then good things come from that,
Absolutely.
and joy
Absolutely.
and beauty. And I don't know, that's just, it's a simple thing that I think we don't talk about enough as artists, and that because I think a lot of us feel that it's unattainable,
Hmm.
but it does really, it's so much of it's about consistent work,
Hmm.
towards the goal, and patience. Yeah, and patience.
Patience is key. And we're in a social media age now where we're constantly seeing friends doing
Yeah,
things as well.
yeah.
We're like, dang, I wish I was doing like, and you have to realize we all have our own lane. Like we all have our own journey. That is for them. That is for them. This is for
Let's
me.
talk about that. That's something that I think, you know what, that's an important point.
Hmm.
We get toxic on that by my dog's barking in the background. People are just gonna have to deal with it. But that's something it can be very toxic
For sure.
if we start to look at what others are doing and
Yeah.
covet and that kind of stuff. But I find the best solution, or the best retaliation. I don't even want to call it retaliation, because then it feels like I'm getting back at somebody, which is
Yeah.
not the goal. I think
Yeah.
the best retaliation for your own depression on anything is your own success and your own work,
Hmm.
and putting a foot forward towards it. I found that for me, getting out of depression and that kind of stuff as an artist
Yeah.
was just going forward and not stopping.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Just it's all that you just talked about with consistency. It's just like I'm consistently focusing on what I have going on right here, and it's going to lead me to my destination. Like one step at a time. I'm not trying to veer off the path to look at anybody else's path. Like slow and steady always wins the race, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
that's great. No, slow and steady wins the race. I've been telling myself that for years. I'm 51. I'll be
Hmm.
52. I know I haven't reached where I want to go, and I feel super fresh, actually, especially going into this
Huh.
comedy thing. Like, I haven't found it yet. It's like I thought I'd be the next Pavarotti, and that was my goal, and it's certainly not that. But it's like I'm still like searching for it, and I'm actually, weirdly, if I haven't found it, I'm sort of enjoying this weird ass journey, just like
Huh.
finding new things. I'm sure you're finding this in music all the time. You find new things to arrange, new things to new journeys to go into, new
Hmm.
opportunities. What are you working on right now?
So right now, so I just did a little arrangement for another artist, but he's currently on tour. I don't think I can talk about it, but yes, they hire me occasionally to just do arrangements for like some
he's
VGBs and stuff
fancy.
like that. So I just sent one off. So I was focusing on that, and then I'm working on my own stuff right now. So this next year, um, I am kind of isolating myself to just knock out my own projects. I feel
Good
like
for you.
I've contributed to a lot of different projects, and I'll still do like, when things are called, but like the main focus is like getting my stuff done. You know what I mean? So I have some love song covers. People enjoy those on YouTube, so getting more active in that space, documenting more of the stuff that I'm up to, so that people are part or along for the journey. And then trying to do a classical project too.
Dude, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
incredible. I
I'm
think
trying to.
you have a lot to offer. I think I know just the friend colleague base that we exist in, love you.
Hmm.
We all love you. We all love you as a person, but we also just love your voice. I mean, I said
Appreciate it,
something.
man.
Courtney said something like as she was leaving the house, and I said, "I love Jamal. I love Jamal too. He's so
Man,
nice."
I love y'all, man.
That's kind of things. But you just, there's something about when you sing, there are certain artists, in my opinion, and I think I speak as a voice teacher but mostly just as a fan and as a listener. Like there are people that I hear it and I'm just like, oh, I know what kind of person you are by the way that you sing.
Mm, yeah,
And
no, that's a real thing.
there's like this pure, I don't know, there's this pure bliss that comes out of your throat, that just is just gorgeous. It's just, and I love hearing that honesty and that vulnerability in a voice. So I think because she said that, I was like, well, listen to this, and I hit that, and it's just like, damn, I'm like, I know. I was like,
Man,
I
y'all are the
know.
best, man. Thank you.
Like I know. I was like, it was really good. He's a good singer. And you're just a great artist. You have
Appreciate it.
we'll get out of here soon. You have any advice to people out there? Like, what advice would you give yourself when you were 18 if you had to do it again?
So growing up, like I said, I got exposed to all of these different genres and styles, and people told me you have to pick one. Like it's never gonna work if you don't. Like you have a lane and just stick to it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I rebelled. I don't even know if I would call it rebellion. I just had that like fervent belief in myself that like I can do whatever I set my mind to. And if I want to sing multiple genres, then I'm gonna do that. Like some even before I wanted, even when I was a drummer, I said I wanted to be, or I wanted to study world percussion. And people were like, that's not even a major, like world percussion. And like they were so upset by it. Like, you can't do that. That doesn't exist. And I was like, well, I'm gonna make it exist. Like, so the same thing with singing, like they're telling me like, oh no, if you want to be this kind of singer, that's the only thing you can do. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna be a vocalist and I'm gonna be malleable. I'm gonna be able to, go in and out of everything. And so I sat back not too long ago and I was like, I'm really like realizing my dream right now. Like this is what I wanted. Like I want it on a larger scale and I want to share it with more people. But like every single day I'm living my dream. I get to go sing with the greatest singers in the world with the LA Master Chorale, or go across the street and sing with the LA Opera, you know what I'm saying? Or, pop over to this gig and sing pop music or R&B. Like that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to just, be able to again, get in where I fit in, you know what I'm saying, and have the skill set necessary to execute the job well and be called back again, you know what I'm saying? So like I would encourage anybody who has a belief in whatever you want to do, whether it's, music, whether it's in, law, medicine, whatever. If you have a dream and you want to, do something that hasn't been done, don't listen to the people that haven't done it. Like they have their own journey and, they have their limitations or the limits they've set for themselves, and maybe somebody set them on them. But just be open minded and just follow your dream to the T. And, things will work out for you. If you fully believe in an idea and fully train in it and put the work into it and have the consistency and the work ethic, like it will work out.
That I can't say anything better than that.
That
I
is my joint.
I can't say anything better. Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave on one thing. What's the most famous thing you ever did that nobody knows about?
This thing I
You
ever
don't have to name
did.
the artist.
You want to know a fun fact
Yeah.
that I believe is a fact?
Okay.
On the last like 4 albums of this particular artist, I believe that I am the only singer, in addition to the main artist, who's on all four.
That's badass.
Yeah,
That's super cool. Okay.
that's
We'll leave it
crazy.
at that.
That's my fun fact, man. I mean,
But this
I
is
haven't
a
confirmed
yeah.
it, but I'm like 99% sure on the last 4 albums, I am the only vocalist, in addition to the main artist, that is on all of them.
That's
I'm
incredible.
grateful, dog. Like, I'm grateful for real.
I mean, we get to listen. I mean, I think what we do is kind of it's a humble, it's a humble thing in a sense that a lot of times we don't get credited for some of the work that we get to do. But
Hmm.
we're just and we just get to stand in greatness and watch people work at this level that maybe nobody will ever know that we were in the room for.
Hmm. Hmm.
Part of me kind of loves it. Part of me kind of loves it. I was there, but nobody knows. So
Right, right, right.
I wanted to ask. Yeah, I've done some things, where it's like whether it be a solo on a track in a show or something, nobody's gonna know about that. But it's like I know. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, cool. I'll share mine. That was ridiculous. This is a
Let's go.
ridiculous, and then we'll get out of here. There was a HBO show that got canceled, and they said, hey, we want some tenor high notes, and I said, great.
Uh,
I have a reel that just has me just screaming,
let's go.
screaming high C's, basically. Like, here, does this work for you? And
Right.
they're like, yeah, that's the vibe. And then I go to my gig, and then during the gig, I get a text of like, actually, we're pivoting. I was like, okay, I didn't get the gig. And they're like, we're going a different direction. I'm like, okay, but we still want you. And I said, okay, what do you want? They said, they want a falsettist. Do you do that? And of course,
Okay.
the first thing you say is yes. And then you figure out
Right.
how to do it. So you're like,
Absolutely.
and I have maintained my falsetto over, even as a tenor. So I was like, yeah. And it was way up. And so it was like a mezzo song. And so I had to sing Voi che sapete a cappella on a show. And then the actor had to like lip sync it.
What?
Nobody knows it. It was like, I think I posted about it, but it was so random. Those random.
Please send this to me. I need to see this.
I'll send it to you. It was silly. I mean, but like they're the kind of thing. So 4 albums you sang on this person's in a row, and was it backup? Was it all backup?
Yeah,
Or
it was
was it?
background vocal.
Do you get to tour with these groups when you get to do it ever? Like with some of these acts?
So I haven't. The only artist I've only done spot days. I haven't done any tours where I'm trying to manifest a tour this
We're
year.
gonna
That would
manifest
be
that. We'll throw that out
amazing.
there. We want that to happen for
Because
Jamal.
I love the road. Like I used to tour
Who
with my
doesn't?
acapella group, and
Well, I mean, who doesn't?
it's
I
been a
love the
minute.
road. Road's
I
amazing.
love it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
And
going to
I think
Detroit
it's
this year. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome just to go. Yeah.
yeah. I'm just excited to just have a little bit of motion. Wake up in a different city every other day and just like new
That's cool.
experiences. So
Cool.
I'm excited about that. But I haven't had the opportunity to tour with any of these artists yet. But yes, if they call and they want your boy, I will be there.
I think that's the next step for you. I'm gonna help manifest that for you because I want that for you
Appreciate it.
badly. You're so talented, and
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you would take time with me on this thing. This is nothing yet, but if it becomes something, then maybe it'll bring a couple people to your music, and that's my hope, is that it brings them to you and your amazingness, and you're a beautiful person and great person. You have so much to offer to the arts and to music and to just me and friendship. I'm so grateful. So thank you.
Well, I just want to say to you, thank you, first of all, but I'm also proud of you for stepping out like this, like, and just committing to this new art form. You're like, I've been thinking about it for several years, and I like finally pulled the plug, and I was like, I'm gonna get up on stage, I'm gonna do comedy, I'm gonna do this podcast, and like the fact that you're committed to it is just what we were saying earlier in the conversation. You are committed, you are putting in the work, and it's gonna grow. Like
I
I'm
hope.
sure your audience has already grown in comedy. You know what I'm saying? So like it's slow and steady. We're gonna make it happen.
Well,
And
so
I'm
is
proud
I.
of you,
My
man.
first half hour coming up, so that's a big
Let's
one.
go. See?
And end game is not stand up per se, is writing. So I'm just trying to write. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see where it lands. But it's fun it's exciting. Thank you. I
I
appreciate that.
love it. I love it.
Jamal, I love you. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Love you
you.
too, bro. Thank you
Care,
for having me, man. And I will
dude.
see you next time. I'll see you in
All right,
rehearsal. Are you
awesome.
on Carmina? Are you on Carmina?
Yeah, I'm on Carmina. I'll see you
Well,
soon.
I'll see you soon.
All right, dude.
Bye, bro.
Later, man. That was Jamal. I'm so grateful to have him as a friend and as a colleague. And you heard all the amazing stuff. So yeah, go do check him out on Instagram at Jamal Sings. He is amazing. I think you will very much like his Instagram. He's got snippets up there that will keep you entertained for hours. And really, really amazing person. Like just a good person. So check him out. Thanks for tuning in. Strange Stories from the Stage. This is Todd Strange. See you next time. Take care.